Hello creatives, welcome back to my channel. Today we will learn to paint this cute little Valentine's teddy card. I am super excited to get started with this. This is a very easy, sweet greeting card which I'm sure would brighten up anybody's day if you choose to give it to them or probably create one for yourself. You can download this sketch template from my Patreon. I have provided a link below. So make sure to check that out. You can simply go ahead and trace this design onto your watercolor paper and skip to the painting part, or you could stay here and we'll be going through the entire sketching process as well, so might use that. This template sheet also comes with the exact colors and the mixes that we will be using, so definitely worth checking out. The links in the descriptions below. Okay, so let's get started. You can see that I have two of these here. So the thing about any creative project or piece is that no two of them are ever same. They are always slightly different. It's always gonna come out slightly different, and I feel that's the beauty of it. That actually gives you a lot of creative freedom to do things according to your wish and way, right? If this is your first time trying to sketch a teddy bear, I recommend using a sketching paper like one here, which is probably low on GSM and you don't have to worry about ruining it. However, if you are comfortable with sketching directly on watercolor paper, in that case you can do that as well. For me personally, since I have sketched it out a couple of times, I'm going to directly sketch it on my watercolor paper. So let's begin. For sketching our greeting or the teddy, there are a couple of things that you want to keep into mind. First is, because we want this teddy bear to look really cute, we will pay special attention to the face and body ratio. You would want the face to be quite bigger in comparison to the entire body. So I'm gonna go ahead and sketch a quick rough circle. Like this, and this is gonna be the head of my teddy bear. Now in proportion to that, I would want to keep the body quite small, as you can see in these two here. This is my head and this is the body and the legs, and then we have these cute chubby hands. Same for this one. So you can see that in comparison to the head, the body is slightly smaller than the head, right? So that's what we would try to maintain. Also notice that my teddy has his head tilted. So I'm going to mark these face and eye lines. For my eye line, I'm going to keep it quite low. Now for the body, we will create an oval shape, sort of like an egg. For the hand, I'm going to make it super simple and just create one here, and then his other hand kind of falls back like this. Pretty straightforward, right? And then comes his feet. Again, I'm going to keep them also very simple. So small and sweet, that's what we're looking for. Now the last thing that's left is giving the teddy its ear. So I'm gonna create these half C shapes like this. Alright, so this is pretty much it. Now what we're gonna do is, we have our basic structure or basic shape in place. Now I will be going ahead and adding slight impressions of where the fur would go, so that when we begin painting it with watercolors, we would know exactly where to add the fur details. So just with the pencil, I'm going to quickly mark the areas where I want fur details to come, like towards his elbow, top of his hand, like this, near his ear. And when you're doing fur on his head, you can make sure some goes in that direction, towards right and some of them go towards left, just to add in lots of interest that way. And if you're having hard time on deciding where to put fur, I suggest just doing a quick Google search and looking up some teddy bears, either drawings or actual teddy bears. That way you'll know which area should the fur be. For the balloon, I'm gonna give him a thread. It's almost like the balloon is wrapped around his hand, and the thread kind of makes a heart loop, and then we have the balloon here. So gonna give that. Like so. That's it. And then there's some space here, so I'm just gonna add a nice bunting which has tiny little hearts all over. So with these greeting cards, I just added a half of a bunting. You can go ahead and create that, or with this one I'm gonna do a variation and add almost like 3-part bunting, like so. And then finally you want to mark the ground on which he's standing, and then I'm going to do a couple of fallen hearts just to bring out that Valentine's effect a bit more. And that's it, that's about it. Now let's go and add into his eyes. So I'm going to mark his eyes here, and then another one goes right here. Okay, and then for his nose I'm just gonna mark one towards the center here, and there he has his cute little smile. And this is where I'm gonna put his blush. I'm just lightly marking that, and that's where his line would come. Alright, so this is pretty much it for our sketch part. Now we can go ahead and add in color to this. Okay, so let's begin painting. Just make sure that you swatch out your colors before you get started. So you basically want to get a nice wide range of browns like this. And I'm using an assortment of brushes, right from very fine ones to thick ones. I'll be listing all the product details in the description section below, so make sure to check that out. For our colors, you would want some sort of browns, red or pink, and then here I've used a little bit of green just because I was mixing some pinks with the greens to create brown shades. You can skip that. You just want different shades of brown and then one pink for our hearts. So you want to wet the entire area with water, and we will take a very light wash of a brown color. So you can go ahead with any color, just make sure that's pretty light. So just swatch it on the piece of paper you have, so you can see it's quite light. And I'll go ahead and start adding it, starting from the forehead and dragging it down towards the face. And while you're at it, make sure that the edges of the face are not too round, and just add hints of that fur. I'm gonna add darker color towards the top as I add these hints of fur. Around his face. Like this. Okay. We're gonna do same thing with the body. Just quick strokes and then filling the area up almost entirely with the lighter color. You can choose to leave some space, and then that white space is going to add as highlight when we'll glaze some more color at the top. Same for his hands. Wherever you feel there might be fur, bring that out. Rest, just fill it up with a very light wash of color. And similarly for his tiny little feet, I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, and towards the top of the feet, just below the belly, I'm going to add in more color just because there would be shadow in that area, so I'm going to bring that out. Just dropping in some more color towards the top. Like this. And then for ear, again, I'm gonna make it pretty light. So just some flicks for the fur, and then pretty much that's it. That's about it. For my ground, I'm gonna quickly use swift strokes and add in different shades of brown here. We're gonna add a little bit of green to neutralize a very red brown, and that's about it. And while it's wet, I'll go ahead with the pink color and drop in some of the hearts in there, just to let it bleed a bit into that beautiful brown that we just made. Gonna fill this heart as well. Okay. If you feel that the brown isn't dark enough, just feel free to mix these colors and add in to the mix. Like so. Awesome, we are done with that. Now we're gonna go ahead and define Teddy's features more and add in some more color. So again, I'm gonna start with the forehead, defining the fur a bit more. And blending the color as we come down. Just using the tip of the brush to add in these fine details. Some here, a little bit of some here as well. Okay. Same for his body. I'm gonna drop in this nice dark brown pigment here. And while it's wet, I'm gonna add this watered down shade towards the rest of his body. Same for his arms. Just taking plain water and adding it in. Similarly on this side, adding the brown taking plain water and blending it in. Okay, so I'm going to continue dropping this dark shade in the areas which has the most amount of shadows while things are drying and almost wet. And sometimes I may blend it, sometimes I'm going to leave it like that. Totally your call, how you want to do it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing towards his ear. And I'm going to mix the alizarin crimson with this little brown that we had mixed for our teddy and add into this heart balloon. I'm going to fill one side with it and then fill the rest with water and let the colors bleed. And while you're at it, you can make a darker shade and drop in to the areas which are already wet. Adding his thread to this and finishing up the thread like this, adding some dark browns in our path just to give some more texture. And now I'm gonna go ahead with this dark brown and define the insides of his ear. So I'm gonna fill them half with this brown color, and then I'll take a wet brush, just clean water, and I'll just blend it a bit. Maybe add some more color if I feel like it, like this. And small fur markings, just a bit, using just the tip of the brush to create these fur markings. That's about it. And finally, let's create his eyes right where we have marked it, and I'm going to leave slight white space towards one corner, that is top right corner. Alright, and then we want a nice tiny nose. And his cute little smile. And a center line like this. Okay, and for the bunting, we will again go with the darker brown color. Just quick swoop. You don't want it to be super perfect. And then with the pinks, I'm gonna start painting hearts. So you want a mix of small and big hearts on the bunting. That's what I'm gonna do. Some super small, some really big ones. And yeah, that's about it. We are pretty much done. I will go ahead and glaze the balloon with a nice coat of alizarin crimson, just because I feel it looks a little faded. So I'm gonna add that color to it. Same for the small hearts. Gonna glaze that too. Alright, now the only thing that's left is giving him small blushed cheeks. So I'm gonna drop in the pigment like this and then dab it with a tissue paper. I don't have a tissue paper, so I'm gonna use my hand right now, just the finger, and dab it in. So I'm trying to take it off and just dab it in. And we are pretty much done with our teddy illustration. And that's it. We're done with our Valentine's teddy greeting card. I hope you enjoyed creating this, and I'd love to see what you end up creating. Feel free to add your own spin to it, and do tag me in your stories or posts at the Whimsical Creative on Instagram. I'd love to have a look. That's it for now. I'll see you in my next video soon. Bye bye.